The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Darren Mougey essentially ended all the trade speculation for the Jets to trade up to number 1 to take Fernando Mendoza. I spoke with Fernando Mendoza, our exclusive interview with Mendoza, that and much more. It starts right now. We're live from the Combine in Indy. It is the Jake Asman Show. Here we go.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
Live from Radio Row in Indianapolis, it's Combine time. As teams look for their next superstar, some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Get ready for the 2026 draft, baby. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Live from Indianapolis, it is indeed the Jake Asman Show, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Big thanks to all the Asmaniacs who have been tuned in to our coverage so far this week. The best is yet to come. A lot to talk about with the state of the Jets, and we bring on a first-time guest. He is from Queens. He is a diehard Jet fan, and you can check out his content with U Stadium. Frankie and Nick have not corrupted him completely. It's our guy, Omari Brown. Omari, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Jake. No, I haven't been corrupted yet, but, we'll see. It's still early in the week, and it's still early in the NFL year.
Give us the little background on yourself. I know you played football, and you, of course, grew up a huge Jets fan, and now you get a chance to make content on the NFL.
Yes, yeah. So I played college football, small college upstate, Utica College. So I was the Landon Robertson of our team, 5'11" on a good day, nose tackle. Yeah, man, been a Jets fan for a long time. If you guys really want to dig into some archives, you can find me leading a Jets chant at Radio City Music Hall. And I thought Stephen Hill was going to be the next pick. So, that's as Jets fan as it can get. So, yeah, I've definitely earned my stripes, and I've, took my lumps.
You certainly have. So we got a lot to talk about with the current state of affairs for the Jets. Let's start with what Aaron Glenn said yesterday. His superpower is play calling. He is now going to be taking over as the Jets play caller on defense. We knew it was coming. He confirmed it yesterday. What's your reaction to Glenn saying he's got some superpowers?
Play call is my superpower, really.
Yeah. Just like that right now. I thought, my first question to Glenn would have been, what did you learn from your first year? There's only 32 of these jobs, and it's a huge responsibility. I hoped that his answer would have been, not to give other teams and not to give content creators, memeable quotes. So he didn't learn his lesson in that regard. Another question I would have had for Glenn is, if that was your superpower, why didn't you control that aspect of the game right from jump? I understand that you wanted to be the CEO, but you need to put your imprint on this team and this franchise, and you need to get some positive momentum from the fan base. So I thought that, listen, I just hope that he's able to deliver on his superpower, and I truly hope that his superpower is play calling, because if not, it's going to look really bad if you're losing by 3 touchdowns and everyone's talking about your superpower. The memes are going to be generational.
Oh, my goodness. I saw this earlier today. This was the headline of the New York Post and the graphic that came with it. Super bold. Aaron Glenn re-tapping into his superpower for the Jets next season. This could either go one of two ways. He could be awesome at it, and this will be the moment we go, wow, he really learned, and this is what they needed. Or, and probably the more likely outcome, given the Jets' history, it blows up in their face. Glenn's not good enough. The defense doesn't improve enough, and he's out of a job in a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with this, this offseason needs to be about, stabilizing the ship and also finding some talent. And I think that, there needs to be less noise about the New York Jets. And if anything, you want it to be all positive, or you want it to be quiet at all. I wouldn't be drawing any extra attention to myself. If I was Aaron Glenn, I'd be dead set on proving that I'm the man for this job, and I can, break the longest playoff drought in the NFL.
What's your superpower, Omari?
My superpower would be, persistence. I would say patience and loyalty. That's what I'm going to tell my future wife. Loyalty, because I am a Jets, Knicks. Yankees don't really count, but I'm a Jets and a Knicks fan, and it's been tough sledding there for almost half of my life.
I'll tell you what, if you are a Jet fan watching this, your superpower is in fact loyalty as well, because there's no such thing as a bandwagon Jets fan. That is certainly for sure. We got Omari Brown with us here. If you guys have comments or questions, write it in. I do want to let everyone know that we are going to raffle away at the end of this very show a signed helmet by the great Wayne Cravett. So for those of you tuning in, make sure you enter the raffle for your chance to win. And another public service announcement. This Sunday, 6 Eastern, is the bracket reveal show, the Selection Sunday show for the second ever As Maniac Madness. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. So, Omari, let's talk about some of the takeaways from Mougey's presser yesterday. First things first, I'm going to play you the question Mougey was asked about potentially calling the Raiders about the number 1 pick in the draft.
I talk to Spytech and those guys often, as I do with other teams, talk about moving up, moving back. Absolutely, we'll talk about all those things, but I don't think that's happening. You could ask Spytech, though.
Spytech, of course, John Spytech, the Raiders GM. I didn't think there was any scenario the Jets could get to 1, even if they offered like almost everything. I think when they hired Clint Kubiak to be their head coach, that signaled to me Mendoza's going number 1. They need a quarterback. Kubiak is coming off a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. He's not taking his first head coaching job and going to a team where there's not a clear path to getting his quarterback. And I think his quarterback, when the second he signed the contract, it was going to be Fernando Mendoza.
Absolutely. And I think the Raiders, they were just as dysfunctional as the Jets this last year. There's no way that they can get a talented head coach like Clint Kubiak without having the first overall pick, and that first overall pick being Fernando Mendoza, who everyone thinks is the number 1 quarterback in this draft. So yeah, I think that it's a perfect marriage, and I think that some people would lose their jobs if they were to trade out of that spot unless they received an all-time haul. So there's no surprise there. But what I would like to see from Darren Mougey in his second draft, his first draft was safe. All I remember was an easy pick. I think Mason Taylor was a solid pick, a safe pick, and A.Z. Thomas was a safe pick. So now that you've been able to get your high character guys in there, the Malachi Moores, the Kiko Maui Noahs, let's take some chances. I'm sure Jets fans want to see a GM with some competency. We want to see some aggressiveness, like being in 16, and Jake, a lot of these people are going to say that this is a weaker draft. Because it's a weaker draft, I want to see some maneuvering from Darren Mougey. Be aggressive and move up if you can. I'm eyeing 7. With the Commanders. The Commanders pick at 7, and then they don't pick again until 71. The Jets have 4 premium picks.
Great point.
We could package 16 and maybe 44, move up to 7, and really get, somebody that's at the top of your board. So, we could be talking about, listen, you can go edge, you can go receiver, and then if you jump back into the 7, there might still be edge number 2 or 3 there. So I really want to see some aggression from Darren Mougey, and I want to see him take some chances and really go get the player that you want in a draft that's quote unquote weaker.
Now, your thoughts at pick 2 now, because based on what you just said, it feels like you'd lean with edge at 2. Where do you stand as things currently sit with the Jets' options in that spot?
So I'm an Arvell Reese guy. I think Arvell Reese I think he's phenomenal. I think he has the highest ceiling of the 3 pass rushers. So we're talking Reese, Bain, and Bailey. Okay, I think that Arvell Reese is only 20 years old. We saw him today. Frame, projectable. He can put on at least another 15 to 20 pounds, and I think that he would really grow into an every down edge. Now, I know a lot of people out there are going to say, he doesn't have a home. Arvell Reese is going to be an edge. He's going to be playing edge, and if he's with the Jets, he's going to be playing edge. And I think that you could put him opposite of a Will McDonald, and I think that you could create a 2-headed monster that we could generate some real pressure. So hopefully we can get an interception next year.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So me, I'm going Arvell Reese. But again, let's buck the trend. If you want, I could talk myself into a Carnell Tate. I would love to have the Ohio State receivers on opposite sides. And I think, one thing we all want to do, I feel like Garrett Wilson is respected and we love him amongst Jets fans, but I still think that he's a best kept secret. And that's because that there's no other threats on the Jets. So I know people are going to say, they're probably in the chat right now, hey, listen, this guy, what is this guy talking about? Because they don't have a quarterback. Me, I'm just assuming that they're going to do their due diligence and get a quarterback. But I really want Garrett Wilson to be able to roam free and not always have 2 defenders on him and the entire defense scheming to stop him.
Well, to your point, that's where if they could actually take, let's say, a great player at 2, whether it be Reese, Bailey, Bain, whoever, and then could swing that deal where they move up. Look, I don't know if Mekhi Lemon, for example, would make it to 16, but I'd be willing to go up and get him. I'd be willing to go up and get Carnell Tate if they start to fall. I'm with you, man. They need to add an explosive playmaker, regardless who the quarterback is. next to Garrett Wilson.
Absolutely, because you got to think the Jets are going to be able to control their destiny next year. Darren Mougey did a great job getting those 3 first-round picks for 2027. I think a lot of this is about stabilizing the ship.
Yep.
Gaining some respectability. Building a foundation, which should have been done his first year. But then you just really have to get some pieces to where your young QB is going to walk in and feel secure. And I think if you get that weapon, that's just going to open things up. Darren Mougey let us know that Breece is probably going to be there at least for one more year. I think that they'll probably go with the transition tag, maybe just so he can go out there. And for the transition tag, for people that don't know, the transition tag allows Breece and his agent to go out there and kind of feel out the market, and then the Jets will have the opportunity to match.
What if they don't match it, though? That's why I almost wondered, you just use the franchise tag. Yes, costs a little more, but for an extra $3 million, you're guaranteed to get the player, and then maybe you say to Breece, hey, this is a measure of good faith. No one's going to give you $14.3 million per year on the open market.
That's true. That's true as well, too. But I think they need to be a little careful with that. I think, Breece has been losing a lot. And listen, a lot of us, we can talk about Breece's behavior on social media and things of that, and there's going to be people in favor of it, and there's going to be people against it. Losing does a lot to these guys. These guys have been winners their entire life. They've been the best football players on their team their entire life, and they want to win. And their legacy is on the line as well, too. So I do agree with that, but I think that they should just get at least a 2 or 3 year deal done with Breece, because no matter how you feel about Breece Hall, what he can produce, Breece Hall is a top 12 running back in this league.
I agree. And just to make another hole when you have so many other holes, like, what's the point? You already know at the bare minimum he's a good player.
Yeah, there's no reason for that. Retain your own guys. And what I really want the Jets to do, and one of my mantras, and I'll lend it to you, buy the trenches, draft the skills.
I like that.
Yes, buy the trenches. Let's get some professionals. Let's get some grown men in the room. I know that's a cliche that Jets fans don't like, but I'm talking player side. Let's get some grown men in the room, and then let's just draft some juice on the outside. Let's get your edge rusher. Let's get your wide receiver number 2. Let's get a tight end number 2. Let's start to transition this offense to looking like what the modern NFL is, and let's stop trying to, just build through the drafts. Now, I know that, we've had a tough, I'll use the word tough, run of GMs here, but NFL teams, you can find good interior O-line talent in the draft on day 3. That's what good teams do.
Right.
We have, I believe it's 6. The comp picks are done. I think we have 6 or 7 day 3 picks. Let's use some of that to to develop a talent funnel within the organization, and then let's go out and let's lose some trades. I don't even care. Let's use our salary cap. Let's use their salary cap as a weapon. Let's go get some of those guys. I'm just throwing names out. Let's see if Buda Baker wants a change of scenery. Let's see if Antoine Winfield wants a change of scenery. Let's try to add a veteran at each level of the defense. I just think that defenses can be turned around fairly quickly.
100%. Comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. We're talking with Omari Brown, all things Jets right now. So, to your point, they're in a spot where going into free agency, they have a chance to kind of really replenish some of the talent on the roster. So they're not in a spot at 2 or 16 and 33 and 44 for that matter, where there's an obvious need and they're desperate. Like, go out there, adequately address needs in free agency. You could sign a legit safety in free agency. You could sign a legit linebacker in free agency. It doesn't just need to be Alex Anzalone and call it a day. Like, there's a real opportunity for them to at least go into the draft being able to field a professional football team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't even knock Alex Anzalone, because you know what I really want to see? I think the meat and potatoes of this draft is going to be up the middle, and that's what the Jets need to do. They need to replenish up the middle. I think there's some day 3 guys. I think there's guys like Red Murdoch out of Buffalo. Love what he does. There's a Kendall Daniels out of Oklahoma. So I always tell people, and this isn't a knock on Kendall, it's just, I call him, the bargain version of Sonny Styles. He's 6'5", he's 240, he's fast as all heck, he's physical, and he's a converted safety as well. And these are day 3 guys. If you want to give Alex Anzalone green dot responsibilities for 10 games out of this season and have him in the room and have him groom the next guy, that's great. That's what good organizations do. But then if you want to pay Quay Walker, who's going to be a free agent from the Packers, you can do that as well. I think that, I think we're going to find out really early how Woody Johnson feels about this regime if they come out and they're shopping in the clearance rack again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well said. How about this from Medic? He became a channel member. Medic, welcome aboard. You are in the raffle for a signed Wayne Corbett helmet at the end of our show for one. Hit it, AG.
Play call is my superpower, really.
And Medic Superpower is entering the raffle for this signed Wayne Corbett helmet. Plus, Folks, Friday, we're giving away 3 awesome signed Jet items. Name It signed helmet, Revis signed helmet, Garrett Wilson signed football. The top options in the raffle, the top prizes in raffle 62. Big thank you to everyone who supports our show. Let's talk about the quarterback situation now, Omari, because you look at the options, they ain't great, as we all know. A couple tidbits that have already broke this week that I want to get your thoughts on. Kirk Cousins officially going to be released. I feel like if you're just looking for a guy to be the bridge for a year, you can make a case he might be the best, and it only costs you money to bring him in. Your thoughts on Cousins as an option now that the GM of the Falcons confirmed he is, in fact, going to be released?
Well, yeah, there is some synergy there. Frank Reich and Kirk Cousins are bonded by their belief in Christianity, I believe. I don't want to misspeak. So I know that they have a close relationship there. I think they should acquire a quarterback in all 3 ways. They should bring in a vet. They should trade for a young guy. And I think that they should draft a guy on day 3. So if you want to bring in a Kirk Cousins, if you want to draft a reclamation project like Will Levis, and then you want to take a big swing with the Taylor Green, a traits guy, or a Drew Allar, who we're going to get to see throw here, or even a Cole Payton. I think Cole Payton's getting a lot of positive buzz going around. So I think they need to fill out that room with the 3 different types. So you get a vet, you get a young guy, and then you get a rookie. And I think that's good. I think that's a good way to go about building this QB room.
I'm with you.
And I just want somebody, again, I just really want somebody that's going to be able to push the ball downfield and give Garrett some opportunities downfield. And we're going to have AD Mitchell as well, too. AD Mitchell separates deep, and he's a deep ball threat. So
I've been saying this to people. They're not that far away if they could get just baseline competent quarterback play. Again, you have the O-line. You have some weapons. You can add more weapons. You look at the running back situation. Breece is going to be back. We know that now in some capacity. He will be here. You're not completely bereft of talent there. If you could just get, to quote the owner, someone that could complete an actual pass.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all that's it. All we're asking for, Jake, is top 15
Sure.
play. Even hell, I'd sign up for 15 to 20 QB play. And I think another avenue that they could potentially try, maybe poaching one of those premium backups, maybe a Tyson Bagent, for the backup for the Chicago Bears, maybe a Davis Mills. I think that the Texans are gonna, firmly commit to CJ Stroud here, or even a Will Levis, our old buddy Robert Saleh. Maybe we could reach out to him, maybe do a swap for one of his old players.
If you had a veteran established quarterback and then your younger veteran in the room is the Will Levis type or someone of that ilk, I don't hate that, because you got to give the fan base something. And we've seen this too many times. You can't just have only one true quarterback option, because you end up having to play 2 or 3 almost every season. We watched Brady Cook play 5 games this year.
Exactly. Our tank commander, our crown tank prince, Brady Cook. Yeah, and I mean, it's the Jets. And I feel like, it's almost Murphy's Law with the Jets. Anything that can go wrong possibly will go wrong. So you need to insulate yourself for injury. You need to insulate yourself for poor QB play, because this is a buzzsaw, and I think, everything that we're talking about here us to the point where whenever we do get that young quarterback in here that we're going to build around, that it's seamless. He can come in and he doesn't feel like he has to, lift up the entire tri-state on his own shoulders.
100%. He's Omari Brown. We're talking all things Jets right now. If you guys have a comment or a question, write it in. Another name that has emerged is Andy Dalton. Now, look, as a fellow redhead, I've always supported my people. We love Andy Dalton. He looks a lot different now than I even remembered. He's got like the long hair and the facial hair. I used one of the photos in the thumbnail for this video. But Adam Schefter reported earlier that teams have reached out to inquire about Andy Dalton, who's 38 years old. He hasn't played a ton over the last few years. I think his stat line is like 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Would Andy Dalton have any intrigue for you?
Yes, Andy Dalton is a professional. He's a professional quarterback. And if we bring in, a Will Levis, a Tyson Bagent, or Drew Allar, you're going to need to lean on somebody. I would look at Andy Dalton the same way I looked at Josh McCown when he was here when we first had Sam Darnold. I think Sam would have benefited more from learning the first 5 to 6 games from watching what Josh McCown can do. So if we can bring in Andy Dalton and bring in Will Levis, now that's a legit QB competition that we'd all see. I'm sure I'd see you at training camp and we'd be charting throws between Dalton and Will Levis. So I think that that's definitely an opportunity and an avenue that they should pursue.
100%. Again, you got to get some professionals in the room. Even if it's Dalton, Tyrod, and a rookie, just someone that if they have to play, it's not going to be embarrassed. Because again, if you're Aaron Glenn, you can't afford to just lose all these games again and expect you're going to get a chance to pick your real quarterback in 2027.
Yeah, I think Aaron Glenn is going to be coaching for his career, not even his job. He's going to be coaching for his career. Now, again, he can always go back and be a DC, but there's only
that's a superpower.
That's a superpower, exactly. So I think that we're going to have somebody in there that's not afraid to take chances, that can command the respect of the rest of the QB room and the offense. And I'm on board with any of those guys that's had success. I don't care if they're later in their careers.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We're talking all things New York Jets. In terms of Glenn, were you surprised that he wasn't one and done, or are you not surprised he's back?
I was. This was historically bad. I mean, I think, and then the turnover with the entire staff.
Right.
I think Hugh Jackson was the only one that's turned over a staff that much. I think it was 80% turnover.
And both coordinators.
And both coordinators. So I was truly shocked. When we hear that Woody Johnson doesn't show up to games, one thing Woody's going to do is show up to those games. So if Woody wasn't showing up to the games, then we all know how it feels. Now, I'm not in that room, but I need to see. I don't think that there should be a playoff mandate. But let's say that we're 8 and 9, and we don't really want to be in that purgatory because we've been in that purgatory. We've kind of been there.
Unless it's like Ty Simpson or Garrett Nussmeier somehow leading us there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that optics are going to be really big too. We did improve on the penalties. And certain guys did take a step up. Jets fans don't want to hear this, but we did eliminate the penalties, and certain guys.
Even that though was like we went from 31 to 23, I think it was. Hey, no kicks were blocked though. That's field goal protection champions.
That's true. Big Knox is going to be no interceptions. So the optics are going to play a large role. It's not going to be. Did we win 6 games? But we were. There were. One possession games, and I mean actual one possession games, not the Tampa Bay game, or not they started playing prevent and then we started getting a bunch of garbage touchdowns. It has to be actual one possession games. Can we be in the hunt? Can we be in the hunt,
right.
In the playoff hunt graphic? So I think optics are going to play a large role, but he has to do better. He just has to.
No doubt. When you look at just the season as a whole, it is such a weird line the Jets are trying to basically toe. Because on one hand, they need to show real improvement. On the other hand, we all know that 2027, you have all these picks, and you might want to be bad enough to get the top quarterback. Or, you could trade up, but in an ideal world, you could just stick and pick and then use your other first-round picks to build the team. And that also makes your job more attractive for Mike Tomlin or Sean McDermott or whoever the top offensive coach is a year from now. Yep. Yeah, could be Davis Webb.
Davis Webb. Listen,
I'm holding out hope for Kevin O'Connell if the Vikings just start a mess. And Mougey's like, well, I could get my old college roommate to be the head coach. Woody, what do you think about that? Huh?
Yeah, if we're really going to plot, we could talk about Nate Shieldhouse. We could talk about Davis Webb. Listen, he just took Sean Payton just relinquished play calling responsibility, which I think is a huge story.
Right.
So yeah. I think listen, I'm always in favor of. I want to say I'm a fan first. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I'm here. I'm working. I'm living my dream.
Sure,
but I'm
a fan.
I'm a fan first. So if they can win 10 games, let's go win 10 games. I want to be happy. The last time I was happy, Jake. This is funny. The last time that Nick Folk was our kicker, I was 21 years old, and I was getting free drinks because I had just turned 21, and Nick Folk had just kicked the game-winning field goal. So that's the last time. So I would like to
kick the game-winning field goal right up the road over there.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I didn't want to, we're in enemy territory. I didn't want to bring that up. But yeah, that's the last time that I was able to celebrate. So I was 21 years old then, and I'm near 40 now, and I think it's time for us to get excited again.
You look good for being nearly 40. I would have no idea.
I appreciate that.
The beard looks strong.
Thank you. Cocoa butter,
Nice. Well done. Omari Brown is with us here. Last chance to get a comment or question addressed. We're talking all things New York Jets. As far as just the overall offseason as a whole, you could answer this question wherever you want to go. What's going to be like the wow move that happens this offseason? Could be a player being traded, could be a crazy free agent signing. Like, what's the big thing that you think is going to happen that we're going to be like, wow, this is a big deal that this occurred?
The Jets signed Tyler Linderbaum first day of free agency.
I would love that.
Show up the middle.
Let's have the best O-line in the league.
Exactly. Let's just have the best O-line in the league. Buy the trenches, draft the skill. That's all we got to say. And Jake, you can adopt that, and I'll even give you credit, and we can share it, Let's do that. And then also one of my mantras as well, too, I actually posted this. It's win on the margins. So when I say win on the margins, I'm talking like those smaller moves. I'm talking, let's swap out the Michael Clemens. Let's get Kingsley Enigbari. Things like that. Let's swap out the J2 fellas. Let's bring in DJ Readers or David Onyemata. That's what I mean by win on the margins. It doesn't have to be all these big grandiose moves, but I would like to be pleasantly surprised, but that's what I would like to see. Win on the margins, and that's kind of how the Knicks built their current iteration of what they are now. Winning on the margins is way better than trying to build a team through free agency or trying to trade a bunch of picks just to get one player. Let's incrementally build this thing so we never have to go 15 years without making the playoffs again.
That is incredibly well said. Perfect way to end it. Omari, great to hang out with you, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Glad to meet you, man.
Where can people find all your work?
Absolutely. I'm on Twitter. I'm going to be starting a YouTube up soon, but please follow U Stadium. I'm here on behalf of U Stadium, and follow me, Omari Brown. It's 2 I's instead of 1. And I'm on Twitter. Love to chat. Love to learn. So if you got something that you can teach me, reach out to me and let's do it.
Love it. He's Omari Brown. My name is Jake Asman. Quick break, and we will continue our conversation live from Radio Row. Get to your calls as well. Jake Asman hanging out with you inside the Indiana Convention Center at the NFL Scouting Combine.
I hate this team. My New York Jets. Woody owes me a hug. I hate this team. Will we ever win a game? I hate this team. Can we find a decent quarterback? I hate this team. These are the same old Jets. The worst team in professional sports. I hate this team.
Today's not your birthday?
I'm practicing for it.
Your birthday is Monday, though, Lane.
Yeah, but because of the Jews holiday, I can't have anybody over until after the following week.
Okay, so you can have cake today in preparation for your actual birthday.
Yeah.
Lane wants to say hi to you. It's his birthday in 2 days. He's practicing for it.
I'm trying to take care of a very big problem here that I don't think we appreciate.
I mean, I like Mason.
Anthony Mason?
Yeah, Anthony Mason.
You're getting your ass kicked every fucking week. Damn it! I don't get it, but I'm not the head coach. Like a little goat. That's not football! That's not a man! That's a bitch! I'm done.
Remember when you had dead maggots living in your toe?
No, they were alive. They weren't dead. They were alive.
Great. Even better.
One got in there, and then it was nasty. It was bad.
Disgusting.
In fact, I played golf with Rich Kotite at the Jet Golf Classic. In the parking lot, I told him I had some advice for him, and he dismissed me like I was a caddy. And then they went 1-15.
Same shit! Come on now! What the fuck?
You're like Dr. Melfi for like the most damaged people in the world.
You did take a couple of my calls. I tried to call in a couple of times, but
I didn't dismiss you. I probably was on the air and the show was ending. I didn't have time to squeeze
I
you
thought
in.
you were mad at me, honestly. I was drinking some shit I didn't even mean. So this is my football right here, going in the toilet.
What? No. False. False security, man.
Scatterboo time. Giants
it's not scatterboo time. You just put the ball in the toilet.
Is it going down? Smell that toilet water?
Oh.
There's some bogus charge on my card, and I don't like the sign of that. Give me someone American I can speak to. Give me someone American I can talk to.
Why are you so upset?
Hello? I don't even know a password. I'm trying something here.
Gator says, was Beast the best choice as your tech support engineer? I still believe in him, Gator, absolutely.
I tried Raunchy 14, didn't want to work.
Hogwarts 350 LBs.
Hey, watch it, got it. Oh, bullshit, man. This is so fucking stupid. Dippy, go. You want to get cracked, Spencer? I got the baseball bat waiting for you, you son of a bitch. I got to paint him with a hemorrhoid.
Calm down. Take it easy. Are you crying, bro? In this alliance, we support each other. You're the leader, goddammit.
Yeah, I know. I'm like an emperor almost in a weird way. That's not shit. That was washed immediately.
That looks like a shit in the underwear, Beast. Big Cho, after months of constant questions, inquiries, and emails, finally got the opportunity to both see his first Jets game at home and meet up with Asmaniacs for an epic tailgate.
It was an adventure trying to get to the game because my Uber driver didn't speak English.
Did he speak Cho?
So he didn't speak Cho, didn't know where to go. couldn't get with the flow.
He may not have believed it prior, but he was clearly the star of the show when Asmaniacs lined up to meet him, get autographs, and of course take photos with this legend.
And looked after me and treated me like a celebrity. You know, I got to meet Dre Day. I signed a jersey from him. Papa Jet, Team Curry, Lumpy. I sat next to Kyle. I mean, all those people are fantastic. They're like family to me, and I only met them for a weekend. I had some very fine-looking ladies. I'm going to tell you, the girls in New York, they look really good. I felt like I was a player.
I did not know you actually had the scars and shit in the back of your neck. I thought you were just like on Valium and just fucking were just lazy as shit. And then when I saw you at the tailgate sitting in the chair and you look like Nightmare Before Christmas on your back, I get why you're like in pain and shit like that. So.
Oh my God, I'll give Aaron Glenn's grade a 5 out of 10. What's up? That's the only good thing Aaron Glenn's at. Good at. This is also damn thing. What do you think, Big Chow?
This is a nightmare.
Mad Max wants to buy your ticket.
I'll pay you 25.
I won't go under 100.
Or $105. Does that sound good, Big Show?
105?
Yes. I'm just negotiating with Big Show. I'll buy your ticket, you know.
We always expect to lose. Will we ever be a winner? Figure this out, Woody. This team is shit.
We're back at Radio Row. Hey, FYI, I have learned during the commercial break the YouTube chat is down, so no messages can send. I was wondering where everyone was because it said we had like 300 people watching the show, but there were no comments or questions or super chats for people to enter the raffle. So if the chat doesn't start working for people soon, we will skip the raffle till tomorrow morning. And if you enter during the first show for the Corbett helmet, you'll still be in that one, of course. But if you want to call in, the call-in link, I believe, is pinned, and I have a couple callers on hold. So I could do the show with calls, but you're not alone. The YouTube chat is apparently not working. If it starts working again, we'll know because we'll start seeing chats come across. On that note, let me get to a couple of calls. And the calls today on the show are presented by a brand new sponsor. That is Rula. Let me talk all about Rula right now because if you're a Jet fan, you're going to want to listen up. This is going to help you. If you're a Jet fan, you already know stress. You know Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, the offseason, draft, free agency. Being invested in the team is basically a full-time emotional commitment. And honestly, a lot of guys carry that same stress into work, family life, relationships, all of it. I've seen friends, family, people in my life really benefit from therapy when things start piling up. The problem is it's usually hard to get started or way too expensive. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare provider group that makes therapy simple and affordable. They work with the most major insurance plans, and the average copay is about $15 per session, which is less than a beer at MetLife Stadium. With Rula, you get matched with licensed, vetted therapists who actually fit what you're looking for, and you could book sessions fast, sometimes as soon as the next day. No long waits, no guessing, no nonsense. If you're ready to invest in your mental health the same way you invest in the Jets every week, go to Rula.com/Asman to get started today. That's RULA.com/Asman. Take the first step and take control of your mental health with Rula. Shout out to Rula for jumping on board. With that said, let's get to some of your calls. First up today is our pal Doc Jet fan who starts it off. What's up, Doc?
Hey, Jake. Loving this week. You've had some great guests. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Enjoying the content as usual. I was listening to the Mike Florio interview, and it was interesting. He brought up about Woody's personality again, not having relationships in the league, having to hire consultants, etc. I have a short story about Woody that gives you a look at his personality. Not that I know him, but I knew him for 15 minutes in 2010. So I fly out to Indianapolis, where you are now, new stadium, excited with my two boys, Matt and Corey, 117, 116, for the 2010 AFC Championship game against Indianapolis. And it's the morning of the game. We're a little hungry. We want to get out to the stadium early, but we stopped by Don Shula's Steakhouse. I don't know if it's still there yet. Still there now, but they had this enormous brunch. Very expensive, but we said, the hell with it. We're here. Let's go for it. We're sitting down for brunch, and this guy walks in wearing like a business shirt, and he looks out of place, like a deer in the headlights. And it's Woody Johnson by himself, a billionaire, no security, no nothing. and he's looking for people to talk to. So about 10 minutes goes by. I figure I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to go. So he decides to sit down at our table, and he orders a glass of tea with like 16 lemons in it. I look at him like 16 lemons. He's like, yeah, I got to root loud. I need my voice there. Okay, fine. I'm telling him about all the years I went to Shea Stadium, all the 35 years of season tickets, about sitting through with my college friends, the 83 Mud Bowl, blah, blah, blah. He's just kind of staring and not saying much, not really engaging. And so he finally finishes his tea, stands up, and he says, nice talking to you. I look at my kids, and I'm like, well, we just bored the shit out of him because he did not engage at all. I get up to go to the bathroom, and I feel a hand on my shoulder, and it's him. And he looks at me with almost tears in his eyes. He looks so sincere. And he says, you, your kids, your family, people like you is part of the reason why I bought this team. I want to make you proud forever. And it was with total sincerity that he said that. I'm like, this is a great guy, but that's not the end of the story. I go back to pay the bill for this very expensive brunch, and it's like over $300. I'm like, what the hell? And I look at it, and it's for 4 people. So I said to the waitress, it's only me and my 2 boys. Well, you had that older gentleman sitting with you, and I brought him tea. I said, well, he didn't eat. I mean, he just had a glass of tea. She says, I got to charge you. So we paid it. And that, in a nutshell, is what he's been doing to season ticket holders for the last 25 years.
Oh, my God. Well,
it was worth it. Yeah.
Hold on. I thought this was going to end up being a happy story where, like, when you went to the bathroom, in between that, he went to the waitress and said, hey, let me pick up the tab for these 3 Jet fans who are in town for the big game. Wow. You had to pay for his brunch after all that?
Just for a glass of tea. And again, it wouldn't have been on brand if he paid for my breakfast because I'd been paying for season tickets for how long for to watch this product.
God, that is unbelievable.
But the $75 was worth it for the story. It really was. And honestly, the way he looked at me, tapped me on the shoulder, he was this close, eye to eye. He was a mensch. I mean, you know what? I said, maybe he's a little bit misunderstood because he's not a connector. He doesn't have an effervescent personality. Maybe that's why he doesn't have the relationships in the league. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on somebody I don't know except for those 15 minutes. But when he sat and talked to me, he said, this is why I bought the team, looking around at my table with my kids. Okay. But yes, we did pay for his breakfast. Anyway.
Doc, that is a great story, man.
It's a fact. It's all
awesome.
True. It's all. In fact, let me show you just to prove that it is a true story. This is Shula's Steakhouse with the boys.
Wow, look at that.
Whatever. Back in my Riggins jersey, but so football related. That being the backstory. I heard your interview with Nick Faria. By the way, 14 hours Queens to. It used to take me 14 hours from South Jersey to Shea, so big deal. But anyway, but anyway, I'd like to change your mind and maybe have you think it in a different way about ABT. And Nick Faria's point was, you sign him because it changes the ceiling. You might as well shoot for the stars on your offensive line, and then bring out in a backup guard because his history of injuries is horrible. I think he's 3 out of 5 seasons, right?
Correct.
Here's why I think it's worth the gamble. Look at it the other way. What's a better chance of happening? One of the 4 starters on the offensive line getting hurt or him getting hurt? And I would argue it's at least even, because it's 4 different players. ABT can play right tackle. He can play either guard position. So mitigating his injury history, I think, is the fact that he's so flexible. And we know that he's a near all-pro player when he's healthy. I think it's a no-brainer. And I think, that scares me less about him getting injured is the fact that he can cover for the other 4 guys, with the exception maybe of the center. I think it's a no-brainer that they ought to sign him.
So I like the take. My only concern with a guy like AVT is if you allocate a ton of money towards him, where else could that money potentially be spent in other areas when you have
100%.
so many other holes? Like I'm okay overpaying a little bit relative to whatever the market value is supposed to be, which that's another thing. I talked to so many people already this week. No one has any idea what he's going to get. So I just want to know what the number is before I say, yep, just get him. Because I do think there's a limit at some point for a guy like he's a good player, very good when he plays, but they had a competent offensive line without him this past year. So, could that money be spent elsewhere? Could you draft someone that even at pick 44 that could be a center guard type that you could just plug and play? Like, look at the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. They won the Super Bowl. I think they have 3 guys who are not first or second round picks that started on it. So you could find offensive line, in the draft if you already have the bookend tackles and Tippmann locked in.
Well, you're right. But remember when we started talking about re-signing ABT on a prove-it deal, you were talking $8-9 million, for a 1-year contract, maybe 16 over 2. We're not talking about franchising him at $23 million, because remember the franchises, they don't make the left tackle, the right tackle, guards. They're all franchised.
All linemen. Yeah. So you can't use the tag on them. So it's either you sign them or you lose them. That's it.
Absolutely. But look, if you can get him on a prove-it deal, $8-10 million. I think given his versatility, I'd be less worried about his injury history. I mean, he's had some freakish, like a triceps tear, that kind of stuff. That's weird, and it doesn't, hopefully that doesn't project going forward that he's going to get hurt again. Last thing I'll say is I want to commend you on your excellent use of the word fakakta during the Nick Faria. There's very few people that have the command of the Italian language the way you do to be able to use that word properly. It's not Italian, I know. But no, seriously, really great work this week. This is a terrific show, and I thank you for everything you're doing.
Well, Doc, I thank you for the kind words. Thanks for watching. And I know you said you were retired, so I'm glad that you could call in a lot more because you've already emerged as one of our better callers.
Thank you.
Doc Jetfan, great call from him. That's an awesome story he just told for those who tuned in late about his Woody Johnson interaction. I really thought it was going to end with Woody Johnson picked up the tab, and it's like he's not such a bad guy after all, Jet fans. And I've heard from people that Woody is not a bad guy. It's just I think he's misguided. I think he gets bad advice sometimes. I think he wants to win, though. I've never questioned that. I just think his biggest issue has been how do you go about trying to put the infrastructure in place to win. They've come close. It's been a while. But, they were in the AFC Championship game in consecutive seasons with this man owning the team. Also, just want to let everyone know who is watching live right now. The YouTube chat is currently down for live viewers of the show. So you're not crazy. Apparently, no one's messages are going through. So no one could actually super chat or gift memberships. So if that's the case, we're going to postpone the raffle for our first show tomorrow. We're going to give away a Wayne Corbett signed helmet. And, of course, we have our weekly raffle on Friday. So if you want me to discuss something, tweet me at Jake Asman. I'll check my mentions on Twitter if you want me to hit a topic. But the call-in link is pinned, and I think people could still call in on that because I do have some callers on hold. So let's get to some of those said callers and keep the Jet conversation rolling here in Indy.
It's Beast Breaker.
This is all goddamn muscle right here.
It's Beast Breaker.
Bringing the cheese. Woo!
It's Beast Breaker.
You clown-sucking douchebag.
Let's hear it go, Beast Breaker.
I got gas right now. Oh.
Hey, Beast.
What kind of crappy, horrifying hit was that? Taking Chiefs fan old song? Are you seriously blind? I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with certain things, but I do see at number 2 as a possibility. Maybe we'll get Mendoza. You never know.
Did you see I spoke to him today, Beast?
Yes, I have. Very nice job.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Nice face, clean cut. Hey, he looks like an all-American boy. Very, very outstanding. But the only thing is he's going to have to pass the test. And I'm talking the test. He's going to need speed. He's going to need adrenaline. And he's going to need a little bit of that extracular testicular fortitude of see how much pain he can take. Because I know what it feels like to get knocked around. It's like having a punching bag at you at full force. Going, No, you gotta be better than the punching bag. You gotta remember, the punching bag hits you, you gotta hit it back. You gotta remember that.
Right.
Remember, football is 80% mental and 40% physical. It's 120% of the game. See, everything counts for a reason. There's fucking diarrhea, cha cha cha.
Well said, Beast. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to more of your outstanding calls. YouTube chat still down. Appreciate everyone who's in here. Please click the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. The Rooster is on the line. He's next. Hello, Rooster.
How we doing today, Jake? How's it going?
Pretty good, Rooster. I wish the chat was working for people, but we're hanging in.
Okay. Hearing the presser yesterday and the praise they gave Breece Hall, I think it's still up in the air. I just feel they're going to trade him.
What's up in the air? They said they explicitly want him back. So they will use the tag if they can't get a long-term deal.
And again, saying that is the right thing to say. Why wouldn't you say anything but that? But I still feel,
they didn't say that about AVT or Simpson or Justin Fields. I think they genuinely want Breece. Mougey has said for a year that he wants to keep Breece.
Yeah, I just think with AVT, I think there's a possibility, Jake, that they could trade him. I do. And if there's the right haul for him, they might. Now, that's all I'm saying on that. I just still
anyone could be traded.
Anyone, but again, when he's got trade value still. That people wanted him last year. Maybe someone pays up a little for more this year, or maybe Breece is telling them still, hey, I want to be extended. There's still things to be said with Breece Hall. That's all.
I may ask you a question. Yes or no? Is Breece Hall on the Jets week 1 of 2026?
No.
All right. I think he will be, but if you're right, we'll give you all the credit.
We'll cheer. You know what bothered me with that press conference yesterday? It just feels like the further Glenn gets away from the games, and yes, like you said yesterday, he was all apologetic, and then you say that Superman line. Or superhero, when you got to tell someone how good you are. I was the greatest of, it usually means you're not that good. If you're good, we know you're good. Why do you have to stand there and tell my superpowers is calling plays? Isn't that just a little bit of a turnoff? That's all.
Well, it just feels like he's like trying to tell you he's good at something before he's actually proven he's good at it. Like, okay,
right,
you were a good DC for the last year and change with the Lions, but Mougey's getting praise. Now, all of a sudden, we're having conversations about could Mougey be here and survive if Glenn doesn't work out. Maybe Glenn, his ego kind of kicked in. He wanted to, puff his chest out a little bit, be like, oh, look at me. Like, we were bad last year because I wasn't calling plays on defense. Now I'm never making that mistake again. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm Aaron Glenn. Oh, look at me. Like, if it doesn't work, that comment is going to be memed into a oblivion. And we're never going to hear the end of it.
There'll be the dance, the meme, the super. They'll combine the dance, the superhero will be flying around the stage. And again, still, the only thing with the Jets that's still, we have all these great assets and we love Darren Mougey, but we still all believe deep down that Glenn is still got the power. And it just, you look at Seattle with their GM Schneider, you look at Snead on the Rams, I just don't understand why Woody Johnson brought this guy in, a coach who's never coached before, never ran a team before, and he's got all the power. And we really I love what you said last time, that it's a 2-year with these 5-pick deal. And does Aaron Glenn get a little not thinking 2 years? Because like you said, if he goes 0-6 early, so are all his decisions in the best for the franchise, right? You know what I'm saying? Are we getting the best decisions? Like if Darren Mougey was here and Darren Mougey's run the team, we're going to get the best decisions for the Jets, for the franchise over the next 3 years and not over the next 7 games. And we make a mad dash at a quarterback, or he says, you know what? I want to say, it just bothers me a little.
I can't answer that because I don't know. I think Mougey is more closer to equal footing than we realize, is the sense I get from being here and just the praise he gets from people around the league. Again, Glenn, I think, still has final say, but I also don't think Glenn could demand Mougey, hey, trade our second round picks to go get Mac Jones. I need a quarterback. He's the guy I want. I don't think they're going to operate recklessly. I do think that they're going to have an understanding of you can't force it if it's not there in certain situations.
And then my last point of the day, I'm going to take my inner Neil here as I try to find my way into the playing game. I just love Neil, Kyle Clifton, some of the great callers of all time. But then I also like Gary V and a little bit of that Allen. Sometimes I want to be a villain. Sometimes I just don't.
Don't ever put Gary V in the same sentence as Gary 3D Boxing.
Oh, no, excuse me. That's what I meant, Gary 3D Boxing. I get the Gary. I love that Gary 3D Boxing. I think he is unbelievable. I just think he's great. And I miss Allen. I do. I love his terrible takes. I miss
He'll
him.
be back. He lives to say he's retired from calling in, and then he calls back.
Last question before I go. The first time I called in, you had that freaky Patriots guy. And first time I watched, and I didn't know what the show was about. And the guy kept getting sent to the basement. Whatever happened to that clown? You thought he would maybe come back with the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. What was his name again?
Yeah, 6 rings. He hasn't called in a while. I don't know. I figured he'd be all over during the playoff run when they were going to the Super Bowl, but we never heard from him.
Listen, great show, great guest all week. Love the interview this morning with the guy from Get Up. Unbelievable. Have a great week. Let's get it done. And I'm just not sure Breece will be there at the end of the year. Love you, Jake.
Rooster, good call. I appreciate you, man. Dan Graziano was the guest that he was referring to. So all these interviews, some were live, some were taped, and I'm going to drop them as separate videos on the channel. I had a great interview already. I'll let you guys know. 30 minutes, Connor Rogers and I talking all things Jets. You guys will love it. What's interesting is my most viewed video from Radio Row in San Fran Super Bowl week wasn't Christopher Mad Dog Russo, wasn't Tyrod or Harrison Phillips or A.D. Mitchell, right? Or any of the other Jet-related guests we had. It was Connor Rogers. I told Connor that. He couldn't believe it. So you guys will love the conversation, talking draft with him. We'll put that up on the channel either tomorrow or Friday. All right. If the chat was just down completely and I couldn't get calls, I was just going to run it here and give people a chance to watch some good content. But we're able to take calls because we've taken a call from Doc, Jet Fan, and Rooster thus far, plus Beast as well. So last chance to get in because I have no comments to respond to or super chats to read, unfortunately. Maybe I'll bring on another surprise guest. Anytime we bring a women of sport on the show, the chat goes nuts, and the chat right now can't go nuts, so it's going to be killing them if this person comes on. Oh, you know what? Are we going to do it right now? She's sitting down. You have 2 minutes. All right. Hold on. Let's. You just got to hold it in. Hold on. Let's do the old camera switcheroo, ladies and gentlemen.
Old camera switcheroo.
Mia O'Brien is here. Hold on. No one can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Long awaited. I love the gear.
Mia
I want
O'Brien.
to set up like Jake Asman show.
She covers the Jaguars. She is a successful anchor, podcaster, content creator, all because she went to Ithaca College.
Let the record show. All thanks to the Bombers.
How we doing,
Truly.
Mia?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a little moment there as I was doing the Locked On Squad show that I was like fading a little bit. But
Is
I
that
think,
live for you as well?
Yeah, it was live.
Is YouTube chat not working for you?
No, ours was working as far as I know.
Nothing's working. None of the chats. I
Uh-oh.
can't get super chats.
Uh-oh.
It's terrible. Nothing's no loading.
And then X had issues yesterday. Okay,
Yeah.
so that makes me feel a little bit better because we did have like 60 people watching, and I had 3 total comments.
Right. I can't get.
That makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, cool.
I was asking for questions and no one was writing in. I'm like,
Okay, that
is this show that bad?
That
Like,
does make
geez.
me feel a little bit better then.
And now that I have a woman on and there's no comments, now I can confirm the YouTube chat is in fact not working.
Oh no, I saw one come in. 1, 2, 3.
Well, one will like kind of come in and then just that's it. It's just 1 or 2
Man,
and then it
first
stops.
X, now this. Like, come on now. All right, what do we got? I gotta go hop on with our ESPN radio colleague Q Myers here in a little bit.
All right, here's the question.
Besides being a woman and trying to test out if YouTube comments are working.
Yes. Well, I appreciate the test. Not all heroes wear
Yes.
capes. Number 1 in the draft, Fernando Mendoza. We know that.
Yes.
At 2, if you were the Jets, what would you do?
I'd probably go with David Bailey, just because I think the nebulous of Reese is a bit concerning to me. This is someone who was really high on Isaiah Simmons when he was coming out of Clemson and thought that the Arizona Cardinals would be able to use the Swiss Army knife, and ultimately they were not. And that's not to say that the Jets and the Cardinals of 2020 are the same thing, but that is where, after watching that failed experiment and knowing full well that Devin Lloyd, when the Jaguars went up to get him in the back half of the first round in the 2022 draft, he also, while yes, truly an off-ball linebacker, again, kind of nebulous in that he could be used as a DPR, as a designated pass rusher, or be used in coverage, or be used as a Swiss Army knife, as a bigger box safety if you really wanted to. The Jags couldn't unlock him until year 4, once Anthony Campanelli showed up. And maybe if he had arrived earlier, maybe it's a different story for Devin Lloyd, but seeing that it took 3 defensive coordinators to unlock another quote-unquote nebulous player, the Jets need somebody who's plug and play, and I think David Bailey is plug and play.
What about Ruben Bain?
Oh, I mean, I think Ruben Bain's the better of the two, but unfortunately, I've been ruined by Trent Baalke. And so I think the tape doesn't lie. I think if James Gladstone of Jacksonville, the GM of the Jaguars, is making the pick, I think Reuben Bain's the pick because I think he's the better player of the two. I think he has the better resume. I think he is the player when you turn on the tape, you say, yep, that's the guy. But at the same time, I think in terms of evaluation and projection, that's where I think Bailey makes sense.
Caleb Downs, safety at 2.
Great
Your
player.
reaction would be what?
Great player. You picked a good football player. And that is what this thing is all. Everybody is a dart throw. From Fernando Mendoza on down. Everyone who is selected in the draft is going to be a dart throw. But just go get good football players. He's a good football player. I'd be okay with it.
You cover college football as well.
Yep.
You're based in Jacksonville, so you follow the SEC closely.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Ty Simpson as a prospect?
Still unproven for me. I think that high IQ. I think he's got a high IQ. I think he's a coach's kid. I think he sees the field well. I have questions about the arm talent, but then again, who else are you looking at? I mean, I've covered Carson Beck since he was 16 years old, and I have concerns just because, and I spoke with some people in his camp today, and I know they've stressed this is as healthy mentally and physically as he's ever felt, but like I've seen a little bit of the zip on the arm kind of teeter off ever since that AC joint sprain surgery, and that's where I have some concerns. But at the same time, Simpson, Nussmeier, Beck, they're all kind of in that same neck of the woods for me, with Simpson having the edge just because of his play in 2025.
Are you excited to get married in June?
I am. I'm ready for the process. The process.
Do you trust the process?
We've trusted the process, and to the point that my planner keeps yelling at me that I need to trust the process.
So you're a bridezilla?
No,
You one of those?
No. If anything, I'm the anti-bridezilla. They want me to make decisions, and I refuse to make decisions.
I thought you were a leader.
I am a leader. I'm too busy leading other things. I don't have time to be leading my own wedding.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on the show.
Always. Thank
And,
you for letting me crash at your table for like most of the week.
Yeah, well, thanks for confirming that the YouTube chat is down, because we would have had a field day with questions for you.
Alas. I know, especially with the wedding questions. They usually do well.
Yep.
All right. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Mia O'Brien with us. All right, I'm going to stay on. We got some people who want in on the conversation on the Gusbuster hotline. Last chance to get in. Unfortunately, Mr. Tube is not cooperating, which means we do not have a functioning live YouTube chat, which is deeply, deeply disturbing. But unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about that. All right, here's what we're going to do. I am going to get to all your calls, but first I need to reset. So how about a little music entertainment? Here's V-Man. Hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bass, and Jake. Get it started, Gator. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake.
Well, Super Jazz always cut the line.
And the Buelo dances really fine.
When she's talking about them jets.
My senorita, you know she gets real happy.
Real happy if that female buttons them, right?
Hey, Gator, it's a family show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, back here at Radio Row. Thanks again to Mia O'Brien for joining us. Today's Radio Row broadcast is being presented by my friends over at Cheers. Listen up, Jet fans, all right, because this is something that I know is going to help you out in your life. You know how it goes. You watch a Jet game on Sunday, you have a couple drinks responsibly. Maybe you're celebrating a win or coping with, well, whatever that was. And then Monday comes fast. Once you're past 30, drinking just hits differently. You wake up feeling a step slow. Workouts feel heavier. You wear an Apple Watch or a Whoop. The numbers don't lie. You sleep. Your sleep and readiness, it takes a hit. That's why I love Cheers Restore. This is not just about dehydration. Alcohol impacts your brain, your liver. Cheers Restore is a dual action after alcohol aid designed to support both. It was actually created by a Princeton student. That's right. A nerd made it after researching a compound called DHM that showed powerful alcohol-related effects in the brain and liver. And the stuff's legit. You can find it at CVS, Walgreens, and 7-Eleven. They've been on Shark Tank. They've sold over 50 million doses. And guess what? It's got thousands of top reviews. You can see for yourself. It's backed by doctors. So check it out. The promise is simple. You feel about 50% better the next morning or your money back. Take 3 capsules after your last drink or before bed. This is for normal adults enjoying a few drinks responsibly, not college-style nights. So here's the play. Same night out, way better morning. Head to cheershealth.com. Use code ASMAN for 20% off your entire order. That's cheershealth.com. breecehall.com, code Asman. And after you purchase, make sure to tell them the Jake Asman Show sent you. All right, home stretch here. Get to your last remaining calls. Appreciate everyone who's tuned in to all of our combine coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Gusbuster umbrella hotline right now is... Oh, my fault, Kyle. I didn't put
True
pop you up.
outside
There you
call
go.
today.
You really are outside.
Yes, I am, and I've got a child hiding her face on my shoulder.
You look good.
Thank you. As I wait for Clifton Jr. to come out, that was a great story from the doc. By the way, I think that he actually paid $75 for the 7 lemons rather than the tea. That's the best I could explain it. I just wanted to follow up on my call from earlier because I kind of got assailed a little bit in the chat. And I understand people have their preferences, but my abiding rules are these. No 2 drafts are the same and take down value. And if someone like Mougey were to fall and he were there at 16, you would have no choice but to take him and fill the hole at guard because he projects to guard. If you think that you have a 35th overall player rating on Basantis and he's there at 44, by all means, take him down. But it all depends on how things fall. I just want to make that pretty clear because, this is a draft, and I think that Omari said it before, it's up the middle and on defense, right? So there's a lot of value to be taken down there. And conversely, I also think that there might be some value in the middle of the offensive line. So just kind of put your biases away. The quarterback isn't there this year. We don't need a tackle. I'm not particularly impressed by the edges. There's a lot of projection with Reese, and I kind of think that Bain might be a little miscast as an 3-4 outside linebacker if that's what we're planning on doing. I know we're going to be somewhat hybrid, but I in that scenario, you have to be able to play more than one position, and I really don't see Bain as a 3-4 outside linebacker. That's all I had today. I just wanted to touch base. Great show, great guests. I've been very thoroughly impressed with the week, and I appreciate your time, Jake.
I appreciate it, Kyle. More to come, and I'll tell you what, I taped an interview with Connor Rogers today, and we talked about Bain, and we said, hey, if they're going to a 3-4, maybe he wouldn't make the most sense. But again, we don't know exactly what the Jet defense is going to be. Just because they hired Dunbar doesn't mean they're definitely going 3-4. And so many teams now are multiple. You're not just a one principal defense. Look, maybe Glenn is. I could be dead wrong. The man's got the superpowers, not me. But I'm not going to not take Ruben Bain if I think he's awesome. If I have the highest grade on him. They got to get it right? I forget who said this. I think it was just Mia just before, right? The goal is to get good players, really good players. So that should be the goal. Glenn's superpowers, play calling. Mougey's goal should be building a hell of a roster.
Play calling is my superpower, really.
That'd be nice. Play calling is my superpower. You got to love it. The most memeable quote of all time. Play calling is my superpower. If it goes great, no issues. By the way, the YouTube chat's not working? Because you had 0 guesses for Kyle Clifton, whether he was calling inside or outside. It's weird, man. I don't know how we solve this problem, unfortunately. I wish I had an answer for the people. By the way, Jordan Reed just tweeted this. Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. is a hot name here at the NFL Combine. He's drawing significant interest as he's already had 17 meetings today alone with NFL teams. 17. Obviously, his quarterback was this guy.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, we shall. Oh, we shall. Ozzy says Jay can't see the chat. The chat can't see me. It's just not popping up. This comment loaded probably several minutes after you sent it. And you know nothing's working because there's no super chats coming through. Although I did super chat Buffalo Jet fan during one of the commercial breaks because I saw he was live earlier. And that eventually went through. It just took a while. So if anyone wants to send me a tip that I won't see till later, I'll gladly take it because I have dinner to eat tonight. I'm taking Nick Faria out to dinner for always coming on my show all year. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a man that's currently moving and grooving, and he's on hold. And I shall go back to him unless anyone else calls in. Beast.
Yeah, I just got off the toilet right now. Whoa.
Everything okay?
Gassy. Had a sandwich. Just had a sandwich. I was just about to lay down right now and let the pain wear off.
Don't you feel better after you defecated?
A little, but it's just the ass is burning. That's why. It's just burning.
You should get a bidet. That might be useful for that region of yours.
Yeah, well, that's life. That's life, son. Well, you have a very good day and enjoy the lights.
Enjoy the what?
Enjoy the lights. And don't eat too much. Weather's changing. Oh boy.
Nick Shine just paid me $6.90. Thank you, Nick.
Enjoy. Well, for $6 you can get a slice of pizza.
That's what he wrote. He wrote pizza.
Good way to go. Yeah,
honestly,
easy tonight.
You just sitting on your bed might be more entertaining than anything else I could do right now because I can't apparently take calls. No one can see the call-in link. And no one can see the chat.
Shit happening. Yeah, I also got a chance to meet a good friend of mine yesterday, too. I got a chance to talk to good old Midnight Mike. Very good guy.
Yeah.
Very
hold on 1 second. I actually got a gifted membership that came through. Derek, I don't know when you sent this, but whenever you did, I got it.
Woo, woo, woo. Woo, 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 woo.
Derek in our raffle, which for the Corvette helmet won't be until tomorrow. He's in for one listener. Lisa Juiti is the recipient of the channel membership.
Heavy problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, we return right now to the Beast Cam.
And what am I doing? Laying down in pain, trying to let it wear off. In about another hour, I'm going to take my pills, ibuprofen, put some ice on my back, and then I'll be okay for the rest of the night. That'll be enough for me.
Go get him, champ. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess calls might be working slightly. I'm not sure. Is it true what I see currently on hold right now? Steve Asman's on the line. Hello, Dad.
Hello, Jacob. How are you?
I'm good. I'm figuring out why the YouTube chat is not working across YouTube. It's kind of hurting this show.
Well, you said you never get any calls, so I thought I'd be the one to call.
I get plenty of calls. They're just not going through. I don't know how you got through.
I'm your father. I have God's will.
How was your drive back from Florida? My dad embarked on a how many hour drive?
I think they said 15 hours and 37 minutes. I did it in 16.
Speed demon.
5 stops. I had to get gas. Yeah, I found some people speeding ahead of me. I just kept up.
We know you know a thing or two about gas.
Well, not as much as Beast does from what I just caught just now.
Fucking diarrhea, cha-cha-cha.
Somebody needs Pepto really bad. Maybe we should do a GoFundMe for Pepto-Bismol. Maybe you should get him sponsored.
He probably needs a lot more than just Pepto, but I see your point.
I called because I wanted to tell your audience, I thought your interview with Florio was excellent. I can't believe how candid he was.
It was good. It was good. I hope people enjoyed it.
Was he always that candid? I don't remember being as candid as that with you ever before.
I haven't had him on in years.
Well, I'm talking about when you were in Houston and you had him on. He
Well, it was
never.
a different spot. It was a phone interview, so it wasn't the quite. I think I could get more out of guests when I'm personally the one doing it one-on-one.
Well, seemed to me, I don't think he's going to be applying for the Jet job in the next administration either, unless there's a new owner. He's pretty much made that clear, I think.
What job would he apply for? He's just going to cover the whole league.
Well, no, Florio becoming the next head coach of the Jets with Woody Johnson as owner right now, and Chris Johnson. I don't think he's going to have a prayer to get that job the way he was.
Are you confusing Mike Florio for someone else? Mike Florio is a writer.
Yeah, I am. I'm confusing him for Flores. That's exactly what I just did.
Brian Flores is black. Mike Florio is a white, middle-aged Italian.
Black, white. What's the difference?
Oh my God, this is
I'm a very equal opportunity guy.
You thought I was interviewing Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the
I
Vikings?
absolutely thought that. Shows you how tired and old I am.
Did you listen to the interview? We talked about ownership the whole time.
I listened to 3/4 of the interview. Yeah, you talked about ownership. I know. That's why I said this was awfully candid.
Yeah, because he covers the league.
Well, I thought the guy was going to be the coach. I thought this was the guy. I missed up the names.
In Houston.
I missed up the names. I'm getting old. Oh my God.
Brian Flores is black. It's not even the same last name.
I didn't even think about the black-white thing. I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. That's true, Jacob. I'm lost.
This is something, Dad. I mean, I don't even know what to say to you.
I'm in my own world lately, Jacob. I'm telling you.
I mean, you're lucky the chat is not working. You'd be getting destroyed right now.
If it happens, it happens. Just put me up there with the rest of the loonies.
You fit right in. We'll put you in as a 16th seed and as Maniac. You know, you haven't called enough. You'll be in the NIT.
I should get a Hall of Fame with that then, actually. I don't know what even possessed me to change the two between.
How did you hear the interview and think I was talking to a coach? We talked about him covering league issues. We talked about his reporting on the Jet defensive coordinator situation that he talked about on his show.
I heard the ownership part of what he was talking about and how he said, what did he say? As long as Johnson is the head coach and by the way, he's right, by the way, you could be very, very wealthy and still be cheap. That's very true.
Now I almost have to find Brian Flores if he's here somewhere, get an interview with him.
I think you should.
I'll take a picture with him. I'll send it to
you. so I can recognize one or the other. I don't know why I confused the two. I don't even know how I did it.
I mean, I've heard of people confusing people before. Brian Flores and
remember,
Mike
I only had 6 hours of sleep last night, and I was up for over 24 hours yesterday.
Leon, here's a comment that went through. Alzheimer's, Asman.
Oh, well, that's not funny considering where your grandmother is right now, but that may be true.
Maybe she's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, God forbid.
Are you colorblind? Is that also a possibility that we've learned during this conversation?
Not according to your brother.
Brian Flores.
Oh, wow.
I'm reading back your text to me. Now it makes sense why you were so confused.
I told you.
My dad texted me, folks. He wrote in, where did this go?
I can tell you what I wrote.
Mike Florio said some real news truth in your interview. Nice job. He was really candid.
And I was thinking it was Brian Flores. I don't know what the fuck I was even thinking.
Yes,
wow.
Brian Flores, who is black.
I think I need to get some real sleep tonight, I guess.
You remember, probably go sleep now.
Well, I would if I wasn't at work. I'd have to drive home yet. I fell asleep on the couch last night. Woke up at 6 a.m. I didn't fall asleep till about 10. I was so overtired.
What are your thoughts on Aaron Glenn's superpower?
Play call is my superpower, really.
He put himself in a hell of a position that he's doomed with what he said, basically, unless he becomes a top I'll be nice. 15 defense.
Kevin writes in, Papa ass.
That's not very nice, Kevin.
I'm telling you, if the chat was working, you'd be getting
Okay, so well, I guess I'm good that the chat's not working. I'm entertaining you like Beast does. What can I tell you?
Calling you Lane Asman. They think you're the Lane train.
I could very well be lately, Jacob. You're right.
You know that
I don't even see the chat. How come you don't see the chat when you're on this thing? Because considering this is like the only second time I've ever called in.
Your ex-wife is watching the show. She wrote in ha 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 ha. So her comment got through at some point.
Well, you can tell her that I bought her a new broomstick for her next birthday. How's that? She's not laughing right now. I guarantee you, Jacob.
What was I going to ask you? I just had an idea, and I just completely forgot what I was going to
you're getting like your father. God forbid.
You're rubbing off on me with your Alzheimer's.
I don't understand how I even got that way, Jake.
Hold on, let me bring on my my head trauma injury expert here. He's been hit in the head many times. Gary, your thoughts on my dad's diagnosis?
You can't answer diagnosis. The man thought the space landing was fake.
The moon landing.
The moon landing is definitely fake. That's for sure. I can't believe anyone believes that it's real.
Well, I was best friends with a guy who built parts of the lunar lander. How can I not think that it's real?
Like, okay, so
I grew up with a kid around the corner that's father
let me ask you a question. If I build a car and then I say I drove that car to Saturn, do you believe me? Because I built a car, therefore that I drove that car to Saturn?
You really want me to answer that, Gary?
No, I'm being serious, right? Like you're saying, because I know someone that I do believe that when NASA started, their plan was to go to the moon. I think they got.
You just don't believe they never got there, right?
Yeah, I don't think you got. I think their plan was to go to the moon. I think they got 5, 9, 8, whatever, how many years into it. Like, you know what? There ain't no way we're going to the moon.
I don't know. Do you think you could take Buzz Aldrin? Got pretty pissed off at a lot of people that said that to him.
I'm sure he would. I mean, look, Buzz is not in a good place right now. If you've ever heard interviews with him, to carry that kind of burden and that kind of lie for 50-something years, it's gonna take a toll on a man, right? We're not made to carry that kind of lie. We're not really made to lie at all. To carry that for 55 years, that's rough. It's rough.
I don't know, Gary. I still believe they were there.
Okay. I mean, look, I know I'm not trying to call you a boomer or anything, but people your age who lived through it.
Actually, I'm actually something Jones generation from when I was born, technically.
What year were you born?
63.
That's still okay.
It's not considered boomer. It's considered something Jones.
Well, Generation X would be the next generation, right? That's like, yeah.
Well, there was something Jones between the boomers and whatever.
Are you old enough to remember the Jets winning the Super Bowl? Like, were you old enough to? Like,
I was in first grade, so yes, in fact,
kind of. Okay, yeah.
I remember somebody bringing a piece of Shea Stadium for show and tell. I don't remember what that was for. I think that was for the Mets though when they won the World Series.
That 69 must have been a hell of a year. Are you a Mets fan too, or are you a Yankees fan? You're a Yankees fan like Jake?
Jacob, tell him.
You didn't care about baseball. You'd be a Met fan if you did.
I was much more of a Met fan than a Jet fan, but I'm also was friends with Davey Johnson. So
you were much more of a Met fan than a Yankee fan. You've always been a Jets fan.
Yes, and I took you to some you had great seats for Met games, if I remember correctly, when I took you.
These Yankee Jet fans, especially ones from Long Island, it's a little fugazi to me. It's a little questionable. That's all. It's like, are you really a Yankee fan? Should you be a Mets fan?
If he cared about baseball the way he did football, I would have been a Met fan. I'm glad he didn't.
That's true. I don't really love baseball. I don't really like the Knicks, but that's for a different reason. I like the Nets.
No, you don't.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yes, I do.
You don't like the Knicks because Walt Clyde Frazier apparently didn't give you an autograph when you were how old?
4, 5.
Okay, that is my dad's all-time favorite Knick. Well,
I was hoping I'd see him. I was hoping I'd see him at a celebrity golf outing just so I can turn him down.
Oh, by the way, I got my missus one of your umbrellas like a year and a half ago. It's good.
Well,
It's good.
I thank you for that. I hope
Yeah.
you like it.
It's good. Yeah. Just a basic one, but it's good. No complaints. It's a good
A
quality
big
product.
one or a small one?
Well,
Gary, if you can't remember a large or small, it's either a large size or a small size. How are you going to even debate me on the lunar lander?
I don't. It's big.
Hey, Gary,
big.
do you think Brian Flores looks like Mike Florio?
Well, they both start with F.
I don't think they look like.
Hey, Gary, you should be impressed. Jake's grandfather used to know Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. Yes, all of them. He was
that right, Jake? Yeah.
He was clients Bob Arum, Hank Schwartz, Don King were all clients of my father at one point for a short
Bob
period
Arum
of time.
is still full of like piss and vinegar and energy. Like he's 93, I think Bob Arum is.
Well, Jacob interviewed him and asked him, right?
Arum? Yeah, Arum is great.
Yeah, that was.
You interviewed him, and he's like, "Why do I?"
6 years ago. Yep.
And then he didn't remember. You asked him about your grandfather, and he goes, "I didn't." He didn't remember for a second, and then you told him, and then he remembered. Yeah, they all were part of a company called Video Techniques, which is why I have a poster for the original fight date of the Ali Foreman fight in September that never happened. And there are only 10 of those
If
posters
it
left.
happens in September instead of Halloween, Foreman wins. If it happens in the garden instead of in Africa in the middle of the heat and humidity, Foreman wins. Like,
Oh, that may be true, but the real stories of you be impressed about is why the delay was really for. Because what everybody knows is what the delay is. If you like,
Foreman got cut during sparring. I wasn't even alive for it. I don't know if that's the actual reason.
I will tell you the actual truth because I know. According to my father, who was the accountant for Video Techniques at that time, is that everybody wanted Ali to win, even blacks, everybody. And Foreman was very surly. It was not this. George Foreman was not the same guy you see now, or he passed away recently, but you see him as the grill salesman as he was back then. He was a very surly guy, according to my dad. Angry, very angry. And when this was, Ali's sort of comeback, wasn't it? And he was so pissed that everybody wanted him to lose that he wasn't going to get on the plane from England to Zaire because you had to go to England to get to Zaire back then. So he made Don King give him an extra $100,000 to do the fight. And Don had to fly back to Ohio and dig it up.
Are you sure you're talking about the right person, not to be confused with Florio or Flores?
I am positive about this because this was when I was a kid. So I've heard this story multiple times, and hearing names of two people is different than actually hearing your fathers tell you this 40 times. So, especially the last movie about the Zaire movie, not the one that Will was the actor. What's his name? Will Smith was in the one before that, where they really did sort of a semi-documentary about. I asked him how much of that was true, and he says about 60% of it. But that was the real reason. Foreman wanted more money. He was pissed that everybody wanted to win. He demanded more money, and Don, who was a numbers runner, which they got him on that bullshit thing of manslaughter, but they wanted him because he was a numbers runner. Went back to his farm and dug it up. That is the true story. Unlike your conspiracy theories, this one I happen to know.
Well, let me ask you this. Why was there never a rematch with Ali? Like, why wasn't there a rematch within 12 months?
I never asked that question, so I don't know. And Video Techniques broke up pretty much after that because of cable. So, another story, they were looking to do something else because cable was now taking over from direct, to movie theaters and whatever. They looked into movies, and one of the stories my father came out with, I think during the Tyson rape thing, when my father said that Don King, when they used to yell about that, it was just before that, when they used to, how everybody hated Don King. How is he getting all these clients? How is he still have boxers? How is he able to do this? And my father made the comment that Don King can sell anything to a black man. It's almost like a religious experience. And he quoted this story that back in 1973 or 4, he had a meeting with, oh my God, I really am sleep deprived. Who was the genius comedian guy that lit himself on fire, the black com? Oh my God.
Brian Flores?
No. I can't
Mike
believe
Florio?
I can't. Famous comedian that lit himself on fire because of crack.
The chat would know, but the chat's not working.
Richard Pryor?
Yes, Richard Pryor. So Richard Pryor back then was getting $100,000 a picture, which was like $1 million, which was a lot of money back then in 1973. And my father was in a room with Don King and Bob Arum and two other people. And when he was done, Pryor committed to doing the movie for $25,000. He said it was like a religious experience. Don got up there like he was a Baptist minister and just, you got to do it for your people. You got to, and he got him to do it. And he said that's why Don King was so good at getting boxers. Then he got pissed about the guy that Don King hired for his attorney for the rape trial of Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it was Don King's tax attorney was representing Mike Tyson in a rape case, in a criminal
Yes,
rape case.
which my father had personal dealings with, and said the guy was an absolute moron, other than he took credit for all my father's work.
But I still think
because my
Tyson
father
was
kept
set
Don
up in
King out of jail for tax evasion, and then he got rid of him, and he did it because he was partners with his fraternity brother in that same company called Video Techniques, where they were all partners. And the biggest lowlife of all of them was the guy named Hank Schwartz, who, if you see in the movie, was always supposedly, he said, if you shook Hank Schwartz's hand, you had to make sure you still had your fingernails. So that's who they were. That was the partnership. Hank Schwartz, Barry Bernstein, Bob Arum, and Don King. So now you know some real boxing trivia, Gary, because somewhere in my mother's house, well, no longer, because I think the basement flood, that I used to have all these fight pictures. I had all these private pictures of Don King from that guy who used to take his pictures that was in that movie, with his jaw locked shut in the hospital. I had all those pictures. I had all sorts of, publicity and private pictures of that era, because that's when my father dealt with them. And he said the smartest boxer he ever dealt with was not Muhammad Ali. In fact, Muhammad Ali was stupid. He tried to show him where Bodini Brown and all these people were ripping him off, and he didn't want to know. But yet
I've heard this too. Yeah, I've heard that Ali actually wasn't that intelligent of a guy. I've heard this.
Joe Frazier was a very bright guy, and my father showed him where he was getting ripped off. And then when he ended up handling his own fighters, he ended up doing the same thing that they ripped him off of. He did to his boxers.
Yeah.
See? It was cyclical. My old man, and I told you his description of George Foreman. Until he found religion, he was not the same guy. As you see, people don't remember how surly he was.
This new guy with the grill on HBO, smiling, joking. That was not George Foreman from the 70s. That was not.
No, it was not
the same person.
But he did. Those are the big stories, takeaways that I can give you from boxing that I remember my old man telling me. Most of which really started coming out when he, in fact, that poster was one of the first, if not the first, fight poster that Leroy Neiman actually made. Was this poster I have. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there's another one rolled up somewhere in a house. I haven't found it yet. But I know there's two. and it has a September fight date on it, which they basically blocked out and put a different date on the other ones. I guess everybody.
Yeah, the fight ended up being on Halloween, October 31st. They pushed it back 6 weeks, so the fight was originally scheduled for mid.
And if you really cut your eye, you think it takes 6 weeks? It takes a little longer than that to really.
Yeah, 6 weeks to push. Depending on the cut. Yeah, 6 weeks is kind of quick. If you want, because it's a fight, you're gonna want a full recovery. 6 weeks is not gonna fully heal up.
And he didn't have any cuts on his eye after that fight, if I remember correctly, did he? If that was a weakness, don't you think a good boxer such as Ali would try to exploit that when he could?
Yeah, you would have. It would bust open. It would.
Well,
6 week recovery would just bust open.
So there's your answer, Gary. I think I know. I think I'm telling you a real story here.
I think so too. I think
All right.
So.
Well, Gary, thank you for calling in, and you can confirm a lot of headshots to Steve Asman's head that he confused Brian Flores and Mike Florio.
I'm surprised your brother hasn't called in right now yelling at me yet.
Well, I did get a text from a group chat I'm in with him. So Zach is aware because our friend Eli said Mr. Asman just confused Mike Florio with Brian Flores.
Well,
He's taking whatever meds lands
Mr.
on.
Asman was up for over 24 hours and only had 6 hours of sleep last night. So I guess I'm tired.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hit a quick break because I think we might have a monster guest that's joining us. So, Dad, Gary, thank you both.
Love you, Buzz.
All right. Working on a huge guest. If we can pull it off, it will happen right after this.
I'm 17 years old. We used to have great parties at my house. My parents always went out. I'm dating this girl, Beth Ryan. So she's saying to me, Neil, New Year's Eve, we're going to have a lot of sex. We're going to do a lot. I'm counting on you.
I stick up for you every fucking time on your ESPN show. What do you put my face on that thing for? What the fuck was that? The fuck was that? It looks like Bobby. Looks like Bobby. Fuck you. Destroy that picture. Fucking happy 2003. I play your great host and look like shit you do to me. Goodbye.
I didn't do this. I said it looks like you. It's Beth Ryan, Neil's former lover that never was.
Here comes JJ. He's here to talk about the Jets. He's putting Justin Fields in the Football Hall of Fame. Here comes JJ. You know he's Gary's biggest fan. Beast loves cornrows and the crappy Wi-Fi. Here comes JJ. He loves the sound of his voice. Here comes JJ. Most of these calls end bad, so let's get it over with.
Just seconds after seeing the intro, JJ let Gator know exactly what he thought.
That was terrible. I'm disappointed because over the years I've given this show a lot of memorable moments. He had a lot to pull from. Not a fan of that intro. We're going to go to the playoffs.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
We're back inside the Indiana Convention Center, and joining us now in what has now become a tradition here at the NFL Scouting Combine is the man you watch on NFL Network for all the coverage of the Combine. It's our guy, Rich Eisen. Hello, Rich.
How are you, Jake?
Well, I'm a Jet fan, so, you know.
I know.
Things are okay. Our head coach has a superpower, though. I don't know if you're aware.
What's his superpower?
And apparently it's calling plays.
Yeah. I hear you. I hope it all works out. Aaron Glenn is, a legacy, and a Parcells legacy at that. So, and Bill's the one that came in and kind of shaped everything up in a way that you thought would be resonant forevermore, certainly in the way that it was for the Patriots. But year one was dreadful. Let's hope for a better year for the Jet fans out there.
Now, remember the last time we spoke, you were announcing your show.
Yeah.
Was coming over to ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
We air you in New York on 10:50 a.m. And we were cautiously optimistic about the team, right? Glenn was bringing a new energy. He was talking a big game, and we thought Justin Fields would be coached up properly.
But no, it was dreadful. Positively dreadful. Not a single interception. I think the first turnover of the year is one that I called, and that was the one in London where the Broncos just essentially handed them the football. But like I said, on my show, it's just yet another reset that the fan base has to buy, that all the players that they thought would be the nucleus of a team get traded away for draft choices. that we now have a new general manager to entrust with turning into the proper prospects that you hope won't get traded away 3-4 years from now in another reset. It's just all about finding the right quarterback. Clearly, that is what you need to do. You got to find the right coaching staff. We'll see if they currently have that. We'll find out.
It's just tough to sit here and truly buy in as a long-suffering fan of the
Yeah.
team because in the past, okay, you have all the cap space, you have all the draft picks, and there usually would be like some sort of hope at quarterback. You can point to someone in the draft, or a couple of years ago it was Aaron Rodgers. This year it's tough because it doesn't feel like there's any answer out there for this year. We could talk about the 3 firsts in 2027, but you got to get there first.
Listen, I don't know what they're going to do at the quarterback spot. I don't think you can run it back with Justin Fields.
No
I
way.
just simply that is. I know he's affordable, and you want to use your quarterback spot when you don't know what it can be in an affordable way. I don't know what they're going to do with Breece Hall. I don't know how they're going to add another wide receiver.
Well, it sounds like they're going to tag Breece if they can't get a deal done. So you'll have him. And what's crazy, Rich, you tell me if I'm nuts with this. You look at their O-line, competent offensive line. Garrett Wilson's a stud. A.D. Mitchell flashed some potential. You got Mason Taylor in year 2. Breece will be back. If you could just get competent base-level quarterback play, they're not that far away from at least
I don't know who you get it from. I don't know. Do you
Kirk Cousins?
I don't know what
Marcus
'cause
Mariota.
Kirk is going to have the
Derek Carr
I
out of
imagine he
retirement.
has options. I know Derek Carr was apparently told he could be a Hall of Famer with the Jets
a couple years ago.
Aaron Rodgers
I think
showed
Hackett
up.
told him that.
Yeah.
This is our life.
I know, man. My brother still die hard about it. My nephew still die hard about it.
Have you lost some of the diehardness just of how bad it's been?
100%.
And
Of course I have. Of course I have. I'm not lying to you. I sit out there in Los Angeles and I see 2 teams that are right there in front of me. One of them coached by my favorite Michigan Wolverine maybe ever. And then another one coached by Sean McVay and an organization that knows what they're doing, that does everything right, that just, checks every box. They have young players that ball out. They play great football. So, I never thought I would turn to 2 Los Angeles teams being a diehard native New Yorker, but it's tough not to. I mean, and certainly I've been calling some Jet games too, and I want to come across as I don't want anybody to think that I'm biased. I'm really not. When I call football games, I just want the best possible game for me to call.
Well, the game you called in London was
terrible.
the worst coached game I have ever seen by any
I don't know
Jet
about
ever.
coached. I don't know if it was coaching or not.
The situation before the end of the first half.
Oh, that was
Glenn-
pretty brutal.
Oh my God! And then at the end of the game, Glenn
was
didn't know how long the game-winning field goal was. He's like, "What was it? 65, 68 yards?" No, coach, it was 61. And Nick Folk, he hit from 58 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. It's pretty tough watch.
It was like Kurt Warner. Like I remember people were talking
Well,
about this.
we
He was
were-
like visibly like upset watching how poor the quality of
at the
football
end of the
was.
first half. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I have so many great memories of growing up watching the Jets. Still have my Wesley Walker jersey. Still have, all sorts of great memories about rooting for the Jets as a kid growing up. And my brother's still locked in every Sunday. God bless him.
Is he texting in the group chat? And what are the
Yeah,
icons like?
no. There's nothing to text. What's the text? There's 0 to text. It really was a positively dreadful season. And you watch Quinnen Williams sent away, and you watch Sauce sent away, and it's just like, okay, so who can we buy into? I mean, Garrett Wilson is stupendous, so obviously you got him, and you got an opportunity to add a terrific player at 2, and another one right in the middle of the first round. And see what you can do, and hopefully the football gods stop kicking the Jets and the Nards, and they get some good healthy play, and actually start winning some football games.
Do you have a preference with what they could do at 2 and 16? It feels like this is a very wide open draft.
I think that you gotta get somebody at pass rush. You just got to do it. That's what you see. The Eagles, the Seahawks just keep putting fresh rushers out there on the field. I mean, Aaron Glenn knows what to do. Because I don't think you're going to go safety. I don't think you're going to go wide receiver. I don't think you're going to go. The line's been hit so many times in the first round recently. you figure out who's the best pass rusher and go get him and say, go hunt Josh Allen, go hunt Drake May, go hunt whoever the Miami Dolphins are going to be starting at quarterback and start winning games in division.
Well, what's interesting is at 2, right now, the betting favorite is Arbel Reese.
Yeah,
he's outside linebacker, can be that edge rusher. But he hasn't done it a ton. So it's maybe more of
as a Michigan Wolverine, I'll tell you this. He's unblockable. He's unbelievable. I mean,
so you're cool with that pick? Because some Jet fans
100%.
say, well, it's a projection. I'd rather more of a sure thing, a higher floor, like a Reuben Bain or David Bailey.
I don't know. You just got to trust in the new GM and the scouts. And I'm not an all 22 guy. I'm not a tape head. I'm a Michigan Wolverine who watched a lot of Ohio State football, and this guy is awesome.
So the Rich Eisen stamp of approval for Arbel Reese.
If he's wearing green, he's really good.
Love it. Can I ask you about the New York Yankees?
Sure,
we're the rare Yankee Jet fan.
Okay,
there's more of us out now than there probably were when you were growing up. But I'm excited. It's baseball. Maybe it's just because I talk about the Jets for 4 hours a day for a living.
I'm excited too. If Cole is healthy and then Rodon comes back healthy, having a rotation of Rodon and Fried as your lefties, Heel, Cole and Schlittler as your righties. Will Warren can be a guy who fills in that regard. And then let's hope the back end of the bullpen isn't implosive. But I don't know who's going to get on base. Like the other day, because my 15-year-old son is a diehard Yankee fan.
I heard you say this to my coworker Michael Kay, that he's locked into every game.
Well, he is,
including spring training.
And I texted Kay in the middle of the spring training game where the Yankees got a solo shot, I think, from Caballero who it was, and then bases loaded. Goldschmidt strikes out with 1 out and then fly out, and I'm like, a solo shot and not getting any guys in. With runners in scoring position in less than 2 outs.
October baseball in March.
I'm like, they're in midseason form. I want to see somebody like Stephen Kwan leading off for the Yankees. If they can get somebody, and look at the way the Dodgers almost got beat by the Blue Jays last year. I
wanted Bill Bichette if you're talking about
I want somebody. Where are the Bargers? Where are the where are those types of players? Like the Blue Jays just put the bat on the ball over and over and over again. And the Yankees do not have somebody that in their lineup who's just puts the bat on the ball and doesn't strike out. It's just everybody gets up there and swings for the fences. And all you got, like, if you got somebody at the top, like who's their leadoff hitter again? They don't have a leadoff hitter. Is it Grisham again with his 30 home runs? Like, why did this happen every year? Just stop striking out, put the bat on the ball, and it's like you live or die with the power with the homer over and over again, man. So
and then nothing changes, and when they're literally running back the same exact team.
Honestly, the Yankees, have a grand slam, have a walk-off home run in a World Series game hit by Freddie Freeman, they fold. The Blue Jays have a walk-off home run hit by Freddie Freeman against them in the World Series, and they win the next 2 games. And they lost, but they still took a 3-2 lead home with them.
But their closer on the mound trying to win the World Series,
dude. I mean, so again, I'm a diehard Yankee fan forever. Like that one, I'm never ever giving up on, and I love Judge. I love watching him play. Schlittler was amazing. They have so many reasons to like the pitching staff could be totally dominant if healthy. And I'm very excited about that because there are going to be times when the Yankees just don't score runs because they're going to strike out a lot and the home runs aren't flying out of the building.
For you with the radio show, got to ask you about this before we wrap up.
Sure.
What's it been like kind of having your show under the ESPN umbrella now? I hear you in New York. It's cool to have that feel for you.
It's great being on in our hometown, and I love it. I just can't get enough of it. I can't believe I'm back with ESPN and get to wear those 4 letters as opposed to, wondering what happened in 2003 with our relationship. And it's just great being back. It really is, dude.
When you interviewed Robert Saleh on your show and you commended him for hiring all bald
Yeah.
assistant coaches.
Yes, very much so.
Did you feel like, as a fellow bald person,
No,
that you owed the bald community the
Brotherhood.
rightful recognition?
Absolutely. And, anybody who's follically challenged needs to root for the Tennessee Titans, I think.
Look, I think Sal might have a chance to actually be a really good coach.
Yeah,
now.
of course.
It probably comes down to Cam
Of
Ward,
course.
but
Hey,
it shouldn't surprise any
if
Jet
Sam
fan.
Darnold is winning the Super Bowl with,
Right.
by the way, his first career win against
New
the
England.
New England Patriots, wearing Jets green, he sees ghosts. Winning Seahawks green, he wins Lombardis. Oh, don't get me started.
This franchise is something else. Rich,
good to see you, Jake.
Great to see you. Thank you for coming on. Continue
buddy.
success.
Thanks, pal.
Rich Eisen, of course, the Combine, NFL Network. Check him out. Daniel Jeremiah, the whole gang. Take a quick break and continue our show live from Radio Row here in Indianapolis.
I'm 17 years old. We used to have great parties at my house. My parents always went out. I'm dating this girl, Beth Ryan. So she's saying to me, Neil, New Year's Eve, we're going to have a lot of sex. We're going to do a lot. I'm counting on you.
I stick up for you every fucking time on your ESPN show. What do you put my face on that thing for? What the fuck was that? The fuck was that? It looks like Bobby. Fuck you. Destroy that picture. Fucking happy 2003. I play your great host and look like shit you do to me. Goodbye.
I didn't do this. I said it looks like you. It's Beth Ryan, Neil's former lover that never was.
Here comes JJ. He's here to talk about the Jets. He's putting Justin Fields in the Football Hall of Fame. Here comes JJ. You know he's Gary's biggest fan. Beast loves cornrows and the crappy Wi-Fi. Here comes JJ. He loves the sound of his voice. Here comes JJ. Most of these calls end bad, so let's get it over with.
Just seconds after seeing the intro, JJ let Gator know exactly what he thought.
That was terrible. I'm disappointed because over the years I've given this show a lot of memorable moments. He had a lot to pull from. Not a fan of that intro.
We're going to go to the playoffs, and if we don't, then I'll cut my hair.
Wait a second. If the Jets don't make the playoffs, you'll cut your hair?
Yeah, I'll cut it all off. I'll just one by one chop it off. Man of my word, I'll stick to it.
A few months later.
When are you shaving your head?
Yeah, okay. Believe that if you want to.
You
I'm
said
not,
it.
So what? I'm not a man of my word. I don't care.
You lied to this community. Why won't you shave your hair? I don't understand.
My wife won't let me do it. She said, that's stupid. You should have never said that. That's not happening.
I'm really going to try to tone it down tonight. Psych.
DS.
So,
this call is going into the toilet like that football he dropped a few weeks ago. What? No, false.
Dude, if I was in your face, you wouldn't say shit. And you guys want to, thrash me.
Don't take the chat overly serious. They're trying to troll you to get you riled up.
Jake, man, I like you, but you can, be problematic in my life. Because you want to make me look like a dumbass. Like I'm, like Beast. Because you want to make me look like a sideshow freak.
You make yourself look like a jackass. I don't have to do that.
Beast is a clown in itself.
Shut your trap. Look, Asperger.
Dude, you
10
live with
times
your
over.
mom.
Shut up, bitch, when I speak. 1987's calling for their glasses back.
You're a clown, bro. You're a clown.
You just made me $2. Nate says, thanks for the Sean.
I know. You're making me seem like I'm a sideshow clown, and I'm not.
Do that on your own. I just answer your calls.
You're the ringleader.
Well, it's called the Jake Asman Show. So, yes, by the nature of the title, I am the host of the show.
If you want to talk to me one-on-one, I'll meet you on the boat.
I really don't want to talk to you one-on-one. I think the platform we have here is more than adequate.
Because you're afraid. You're scared. You little redhead bitch.
You've been ripping me in all your comments here.
Because I'm disturbed how things went. When people drink, you know what results of. I'm not stupid like half your audience. My girlfriend even said, you watch so much Jake Asman. I had Jake in my dreams.
You're dreaming about me, Sean?
For real. I love you, Jake. Fuck you. I'm out. Bitches.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you gotta make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't? You can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
Oh, did we deliver on our promise of a big guest? Thank you to Rich Eisen for coming on the Jake Asman Show, as he does every year at the NFL Combine. Rich, beaten down. Let's call it for what it is. He is depressed about the New York Jets. There's no doubt about that, but we'll keep on keeping on. Somehow, some way, we will continue to watch this team. All right. We've got a couple people left on hold. The chat is still not working. It's unfortunate because I would have loved to have been able to do a little Q&A when we had Rich on, but we got the interview in. For those who missed it, rewind this live show, and you'll see it if you're just joining us. Since the chat is not working, we're going to push the raffle to tomorrow. First show for the signed Wayne Corbett helmet. If you did enter today, I know we had a couple gifted memberships that actually were able to come through the pipeline. Kelly, Derek, Medic, I got you all down in the raffle for one. Let me get to the last couple of calls here, and then we'll wrap this baby up. Again, shout out to the Asmaniac community for being locked and loaded during Combine Week. Derek, the Jet fan. Derek, the Kansas Jet fan, is next. Hello, Derek.
Hey, Jake. How we doing, brother, man?
What's up?
Not much. Man, Rich Eisen is the greatest, isn't he, dude? That
Great
was
guy. Great.
That
He
was
says
really
yes every
cool.
year when I ask him.
Is that your first time chatting with him?
No, third time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's probably one of my favorite Jets fans. First off, I just wanted to shout out to you. You being at the combine is super awesome. All the input and everything and draft analysis has been superb. Cannot thank you enough for that. It was rumored. I'm not sure if it's true. I think I missed the first show today. I was at work, but I heard that we held meetings today with David Bailey and Peter Woods. I was intrigued on if maybe you got any information on that, or if we might be leaning them toward them.
Yeah,
at
the
2
Jet.
and 16.
Look, the Jets met with both of them, but I wouldn't put any stock into that. That doesn't they're going to meet with everyone
Yeah.
who's considered to be a top pick.
Okay, I wasn't for sure. I read that and I didn't know if it was how locked in they were in on that. Is there anybody that you may have talked to today? Maybe being sold on Reese or Bailey. I know they keep talking about there's a lot of mock drafts being done, and Bailey and Reese are very high at maybe potentially number 2 for the Jets. I didn't know if there's something you heard maybe today to put any stock into that or not.
I have to go back and check and see what's been reported, who said what. I've been live doing a lot of the combine interviews that have occurred with the prospects, and they're all talking at the same time by position. So I can't be at multiple places at once anyway. But
Right.
I'll get you a list though, Derek. We'll cover that. It will be out there. I can talk to some people who can confirm some things for me for sure.
Nice. Also, I was watching Talking Jets with Ryan, Matt O'Leary, and Green Bean the other day, and I think it was Ryan that was talking about maybe potentially moving, trading up from 33 and maybe moving 16 to trade up higher in the draft. I was wondering if hypothetically, if we did move on from 33 or 16, if there's maybe somebody in the top 10. I think Ryan says in terms of the draft points, it could get us up to maybe 8th in the draft order. I didn't know if that was a realistic possibility, if there's anybody maybe potentially left in the top 8 who you wouldn't mind targeting, or if you'd be willing to trade assets 16 and 33.
I would do it. 16 and 33 to get the 7 was the proposed trade that Omari brought up because the Commanders don't have a lot of picks this year. So they would recoup some assets. I'd be interested. I don't know the player you're coming up for. If you told me it's Mekhi Lemon, I'm in. Sonny Styles, I'm in. Caleb Downs, I'm in. Again, I don't mind that. You have extra resources, get studs. If you're telling me you're going to get a stud at 2 and a stud at 7, and it only cost you your own pick at 16 and then one additional second, like that's why you made the Sauce trade in the first place. That's why you made the Quinnen trade in the first place.
Nice. I would absolutely love that. That's kind of where I'm at on, like, I don't think we need to take a quarterback. I kind of fear that at 33 or 44, we might. I mean, if we do, it is what it is. Us as fans can't really do much about that. But I think we should try and load up and maybe just get like some players to fill the holes in the roster. As much as I know some people might not be too keen on maybe taking a quarterback next year. I just think the quarterback draft class is going to be better. And I'd particularly like to use 2 and 16 at receiver and edge, maybe either or, and then 33 and 44. Because I think one of the last times I was on, you was talking about best player available at 33 and 44. So I just wanted to lament that. I'd really like to just avoid quarterback, but I don't know if Tysonson's at 16. I guess we're going to have to try and force ourselves to be happy about it as Jets fans. But
let's hope it doesn't get to that point, Derek. Let's hope not, but that's what we do. We'll cope and try and justify it.
Right. We'll root for him regardless. All right. That's all I got for you, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Derek, appreciate it, man. Good call from Derek, the Kansas Jet fan on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Again, comments, questions, super chats, they would cut the line if I could see them. Unfortunately, they're not really coming through, but I do appreciate everyone. One thing on Sauce Gardner, I saw this earlier. So the Colts tweeted, he said what he said, and it's a graphic of a Daniel Jeremiah quote where he said to the Colts media people, Sauce Gardner's better than any corner in this draft. I would hope you traded 2 first-round picks and A.D. Mitchell for him. This has got to be the dumbest post I've ever seen by an NFL team. And I root for a franchise that lamented Hassan Reddick showing up to practice as this great thing. Here we go. I posted about that nonsense. Sauce Gardner's better than any corner in this draft. You think he should be. You traded 2 1s and A.D. Mitchell for him. This is not the accomplishment you think it is, Indianapolis. But I digress. All right, one last call, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll wrap this baby up. It looks like we have a tandem call here. Amanda Madison and puppy Theo. Hello, Theo.
Hey, I don't have any takes today other than Theo's the cutest dog and we're
Why are
happy
you
to
whispering?
spend time with him. My mom's in the kitchen. I don't want her to make fun of me.
Why'd you call in? It's a talk show. We need to be able to hear the person talking.
Oh, okay. Well, we just want to just comment on Rich Eisen's interview. We thought it was great. Theo thought it was, riveting.
Theo enjoyed
really
it.
interesting. And yeah, no, he was locked in. And that's really all we have.
All right. Well, Amanda,
no takes today.
I appreciate the kind words from you and Theo.
Yeah, no, we think you're doing a great job, great coverage in Indianapolis. We're huge fans.
Thank you to
for
you
all
and
the
Theo.
content.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Bye, Theo.
Yeah. Theo, say bye. Here, hey, Paw. Ooh, he's waving goodbye.
Hi, Theo. Man, the Jet fans going crazy.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of crazy Jet fans, Beast, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, all right, but I'm about to take my medicine right now.
That's a good idea. Definitely take your meds.
Yeah, well, life can't get any easier. It's just that's the way it is, man. We're going to be just fine this season. And to all you Asmaniacs, get ready for Sunday night. We're going to reveal the brackets. Get ready. Get a box of popcorn, a 6-pack of whatever, and hold your asses tight. You're in.
Well said, Beast. Asmaniac Madness bracket reveal, 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night. All right, what a show. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in today. We had a lot of guests on, some of the interviews live, some were taped. Rich Eisen was live. How cool is that? Shout out to Rich for hopping on the show as he's done the last couple of years. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Of course, if you're betting on any of the action, FanDuel is actually going to have odds for the NFL Scouting Combine. There's some games tonight, so if you're betting on any sports, do it with our sponsor, FanDuel, including St. John's and UConn tonight at 7. Huskies a 5.5-point favorite at FanDuel. I'm taking the Johnnies, getting the points. So there's my pick of the day to wrap up the show. Hope you guys have a great night. Again, thank you to everyone who came on, and including now friend of the show, Fernando Mendoza. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. As always, go Jets.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.